What's happening in the Amazon today is something that's actually been going on for some time, but never on this scale. Forest fires have been raging and multiplying across the great Amazon basin for the past 3 or 4 weeks, and there is no end in sight. There have long been fires in the dry season in Latin America's forests, in particular in areas where cattle ranchers and settlers try to clear the forest so that they can either plant or burn the trees in order to create grazing land for cows. I mean, I've seen it across Latin American jungle regions for the past 30 years or so. What's happening now in the Amazon is also taking place within a political context that's unprecedented, and that is that since January 1st, Brazil has had a far-right president called Jair Bolsonaro, former military man who has called upon essentially the devastation of the Amazon in favor of development. He has repeatedly encouraged widespread development. He's called for the breakup of the indigenous territories that protect millions and millions of acres of land in the Amazon. He has spoken on behalf of the illegal gold miners who have devastated rivers and forests throughout the Amazon and a number of regions that is underway today. Most recently, in the past few days, since these fires have caught the world's attention, he's blamed the fires on foreign environmentalists and NGOs. He said that they have started them. This may sound cartoonishly crazy, and in a way it is, but Bolsonaro is a leader who's taken a page to a very conscious and obvious degree out of the Trump playbook. These fires usually caused and started by cattle ranchers or others who are trying to burn forests illegally in order to seize more land, now feel they have a green light coming from the presidency itself. And they do. From that huge green lung that the Amazon represents, about a fifth has been destroyed over the past 30 years because of uncontrolled, and in some cases intentional destruction. The push into the Amazon really began in the 1970s when Brazil had a military regime that was pro-development and wanted to, in essence, conquer its west, its wilderness, much as the United States government did in its own way back in the 1860s and 70s and 80s when it finally pushed the trains through to the Pacific, pushed the indigenous peoples off into reservations, and encouraged and promoted white settlers to go and settle that land. Brazil, 150 years later, is essentially doing the same thing. As a result of that, millions of settlers from the poor cities on Brazil's eastern flank, where most of the population is, began pouring in, forming new cities, burning the forest in order to grow crops, whether it was beans or maize, or larger interests coming in to get free land in order to become rich off of cattle. The primary motivation of that is it's a vast land grab. That's what's happening. That invasion is taking place with the encouragement of the very Brazilian president himself, which is kind of unheard of. The long-term effect, as we're hearing from scientists, is the possibility that if another fifth of the Amazon is burned, which is not beyond the realm of possibility in this current firestorm we're seeing, that it could begin the process now known as dieback, in which, a bit like is happening with the melting of the ice on the poles, there's a point at which, even if it stops or slows down, the destruction has set in and the forest begins to die as a result of the unsustainability of what's left. The Amazon is the world's last great green lung, and without it, our planet will begin to die.